One big team, one big team, one big team.
Hola! Welcome to Riot Act, the alternative music podcast, episode number 79. My name's Stephen Hill. His name's Renfrey Deadman.
Hello.
We are together the biggest alternative music podcast in the world, aren't we?
Technically, yes.
I think that's how you just, I think that's how it works. You just say something and with no
backing
true.
whatsoever.
That makes it true. That's what I've learned over the years.
It's a weird flashback going on there.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Busy week. Busy
very
week.
busy
How are you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good, Renfrey. I've lost weight.
Hey.
Probably tell from the way that I'm sat. That's
why you're wearing
sucking in
all black.
All black, yeah, slimming. I think I have lost weight. Good for me.
Good. Yeah, I'm very happy for you.
Yeah, that's good. The old veggie diet is working out well.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Have you told the listeners that you've gone veggie? I think you have.
I did.
Yeah,
I've given up everything pretty much.
Given up
I'm
everything.
slightly slimmer.
Giving up on
but
life.
Really miserable with my diet. So no meat, no chocolate, no beer.
Oh, rubbish.
Well, I did have a couple of beers. I've had a couple.
You've had a couple of beers. You had a couple of beers at Monster Magnet.
Anyway, this week on the show, we're going to be talking about new albums from Loathe, Green Day, Sepultura, Silosis, Stone Temple Pilots, Spanish Love Songs, Napalm Death, and Venart, which means we're not doing trade-off because there's too many fucking albums out this week.
Yeah, we made a promise to ourselves that we would not cover too many records going into this new year, and here we are in one show.
So we better do the musicism theme really quick. They do courses, online courses, tutorials for guitarists, for vocalists, for producers, for people who want to be good musicians. Musicism.net, $9.99 a month. Sign up for their courses. Go and put the word Riot in capitals in the checkout. Thanks to us, you'll get 25% off, and everyone will be well happy.
Yeah. Thanks to us personally. I coded that.
How come it takes me so long to do that usually?
I don't know.
I feel like I could do it like that every week.
Well, you could.
Yeah.
I don't know how happy Musicism would be about it, but they probably won't mind.
They probably won't mind. Also, go over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Riot Act Podcast. We've got a whole bunch of podcasts up there for patrons, what we like to call Rioters reviews.
Natural Born Killers has just gone up.
Natural Born Killers has just gone up, which I think is probably my favourite one so far.
It's very good.
Really good. And we've done loads of others. I can't be bothered to go through them. Listen to them from a few weeks ago. I'll tell you what it is. Anyway, Renfrey, God, not a week goes by, and to turn serious for a second, I feel like not a week goes by anymore where we're not going, this is really sad, somebody from our scene has died. Andy Gill from Gang of Four passed away on the 1st of February from a respiratory illness at the age of 64. Now, if you're not aware of Gang of Four and their legacy, obviously highly influential band. He was the leader of an incredibly influential band, produced many of their records. 1979's Entertainment, if you're a fan of kind of post-punk or more angular, artsy punk rock, and where that has spiraled off into, into where we are in 2020, that is absolutely essential listening. Great band, and he's a fantastic producer as well.
What's he done?
He did the debut Red Hot Chili Peppers record.
Did he?
He did albums by Killing Joke. He did their 2004 comeback album, which featured Dave Grohl on drums.
The self-titled one.
The self-titled one, yeah.
The second self-titled one,
yeah. He produced a therapy. He's produced Therapy a couple of times. He did Michael Hutchence' posthumous solo album back in '99, and after Michael Hutchence passed away. He's done the Jesus Lizard. He has done the Future Heads.
Massive name in alternative. He's had his hand in a lot of
the Future Heads
bands.
is quite a good, sort of nod to bands like Franz Ferdinand. When that whole thing was happening, the influence of Gang of Four on that kind of mid-noughties indie scene was massive. Like they're a hugely influential band, and yeah, again, really, really sad. They had an album out last year. Yeah, but I did want to review it, and we never got around to it. But the fact that he was still making records, kind of right up until his passing, just goes to show sort of how committed he was to alternative music. He's not the biggest name that we'll talk about or have talked about who's died, but like massively important. Massively
influential.
Important. So R.I.P. to Andy Gill. Have you got anything you want to add to that, Renfrey?
I mean, I've never massively gone in on Gang of Four, so I feel like you've done the job for me better than I could anyway. But I know he's massively influential. I didn't know that stuff about him being a producer, so that was very interesting. But yeah.
In other news, apparently, Noel Gallagher has denied that he rejected £100 million to reform Oasis, and he says Liam's made it all up because he's got a single to promote. So obviously Oasis is 11 years since they split up, and every year, normally around time Glastonbury comes up, someone goes, I think Oasis are getting back together, and they never ever do. Liam mugged him off on Twitter, as he tends to do as well. This to me feels like, when people go like, oh, eventually they'll do it. Are Oasis the new Guns N' Roses? Now we've got Guns N' Roses back together, as close as probably we're ever going to get. I very much doubt we'll get Steven Adler. We'd all love Izzy Stradlin, but again, maybe that's not going to happen. So there's some sort of semblance of Guns N' Roses back together. Are Oasis now becoming the new Guns N' Roses, where everyone's saying it's going to happen? For years and years and years, everyone went, it's going to happen, Guns N' Roses is going to happen, and Axl would go, nah.
I don't think so. You're saying Axl is Noel Gallagher in this equation?
Yes. Well, I think he probably is.
Bonkers.
In every equation.
I suppose so. I mean, I don't think Noel Gallagher's ever called Liam Gallagher a cancer, which, I mean, Axl called Slash a cancer quite famously.
They've both said some pretty fucking horrendous things about each
other.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to admit, I don't pay too much attention to it because I'm not that bothered.
Sure.
I mean, if I was going to see Oasis live, I would have liked to seen them at a 2,000 cap venue on What's the Story Morning Glory, and that would have been it. But now it will be
don't want much, do you?
But now it will be like a stadium show with a lot of bricks. So
in what world would you have been able to have seen Oasis at a 2,000 capacity venue?
In the world in my mind.
During What's the Story Morning Glory. Where were you going to see
them? I mean, they did a small show at the Roundhouse. Either Dig Out Your Soul or the album beforehand. So, it was possible. But
but they were...
I appreciate what you're saying.
You've had to go to America to see that, I think.
Yeah, probably. And can't be asked to do that. I'm struggling to muster enough. I just don't care.
That's fair enough. My question was,
are they the new Guns N' Roses?
Yeah, you don't care.
I don't care.
I mean, I didn't really care about a Guns N' Roses reunion particularly until I saw it.
And then you're surprised. Yeah, there you go.
So I never saw Oasis. No, that's not true. Actually, I did see a little bit of Oasis at Reading 2000.
On Standing on the Shoulders of Giants.
It was, not the best time to be seeing them. But I would like, I'd like to see it. I mean, they're both doing really quite bad records now.
I'd like to see it on telly. I wouldn't like to be there.
No, yeah.
I'd be surrounded by too many cunts. I just get so angry at the shit arsery that was happening around me. And I'm sorry to be, it's a little bit snooty of me, but
hey, mate, I'm about to review Five Finger Death Punch. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. I mean, it would be a stadium of cunts. You just know it would. Nah.
Okay, well, luckily Noel agrees with you.
Exactly. Me and Noel, good buddies.
We saw some bands.
Yes.
This week, didn't we? Me and you, we saw some bands.
Yeah.
No one can take that away from us.
No.
Whatever they say, Renfrey, they can't take that away from us.
No, they can't.
We both went out on the same night, but to different places, very different places.
Very different, yeah.
But both sort of came back feeling a similar thing.
Yeah, it was an interesting conversation. It was almost you were watching a band who
self-confirmed for Download as headliners.
Yeah, and I was watching a band who, on the strength of the performance that I saw, I thought, I wonder if they could headline Download one day.
Well, let's get into that then. I went to see Five Finger Death Punch, Megadeth and Bad Wolves at Wembley Arena, a sold out, very, very sold out Wembley Arena. You went to see Sleep Token
at the Islington Assembly Hall,
which is a fairly sizable venue.
It's 900 capacity, 890 if we're being pedantic.
We don't need to be.
I just was.
On the, but you don't need to be. So that's pretty big for a band who've only just really released their debut record.
Well, the thing that I pointed out, and I think I pointed this out when we reviewed their debut album as well, but they actually sold that date out before the album had been officially released. They had, of course, been releasing a single. They'd been releasing a song from the record in sequenced order every 2 weeks, if I recall. It's like when the sun set or when the sun came up. I don't know. There was some sort of rigmarole around all that. So, I think people had probably heard maybe half the record by the time it sold out. But I was saying to you, I couldn't think of the last time that had happened. And I suggested to you, with a British band, I suggested to you maybe Creeper.
Creeper, yeah, is a pretty good shout. Yeah, I can't.
And when I say that, to be super clear, I mean that level of growth so quickly. I mean, Sleep Token have only really been a live band for a little over 2 years. We saw their second ever show, didn't we? Did you not?
Seen them, no.
Oh, right, okay. I saw their second ever show supporting Perturbator at ULU.
Yeah.
And I mean, God, there was a lot of issues then. There are, in my opinion, still issues now, but the difference is they have a massive legion of followers who are absolutely devoted to them. Am I going in on this, or are you doing Five Finger? So, I mean, from the moment... very quick shout out to Bledig, who supported Hannah Bolton, who's been on our quiz twice. Her voice was brilliant. They made the venue seem like Ronnie Scott's for half an hour. It was lovely. Nice. And a band called Poisonous Birds, who kind of remind me a little bit of Talk, a little bit of, Autoteca and stuff like that. Really interesting mix. It wasn't particularly cohesive, but very interesting. I think we should explore both of those bands later, maybe. Yeah. But obviously it was all about Sleep Token. When the lights went down, the roar that erupted was just unbelievable. It felt... when you go to a rock show sometimes and you get a roar that comes up which sounds boy bandy. It's like, oh, why am I at a boy band show or something like that? Yeah. Like when you used to go and see Incubus. Not that you did. Although you did a couple of times, I'm sure.
I went to see Incubus, yeah. I was more thinking Bring Me the Horizon with what they called supporting them, Pierce the Veil. Fucking hell.
Right. Yeah.
That was no fun.
I mean, it was. I was really stunned by the reaction, and then when they came on and started playing, every single song, it felt like every single lyric was being sung back at the top of people's voices, as loud as they possibly could, to the extent where a lot of the time they were drowning out the band, particularly on the quiet bits. I mean, obviously we've said this thing before where Sleep Token generally have this formula of quiet, quiet, quiet bit, loud, loud, loud bit, end. And, broadly that's the case still, I think. It is very effective. I mean, it does work. And people were absolutely... I mean, I haven't spoken about this since Amon-Ra, but the last time I just saw people like just spontaneously lifting their hands to the sky in kind of some reverence was probably Amon-Ra. And there were people doing that. And I was like, fucking hell, Like, to be fair, I'm far kinder to Sleep Token than you are. I wasn't expecting a show like that. It was very difficult not to get caught up in it, because when you go to a gig where the atmosphere is like that and everyone's absolutely adoring it, it's difficult not to get swept up in that. So I really, really enjoyed it. I still have issues with it in terms of I still feel like there's too much track. I still feel like sort of... Well, one thing actually, that I do have that issue with it, but one thing I really realised on Friday night is Sleep Token are a pop band, really.
No. No.
But
They've hidden that. Not at all.
But even more so than I thought or realised. And it kind of made the tracks make a bit more sense. And when I say they're a pop band, I don't mean that as a nasty, as a, critical
I don't
thing.
either, to be fair.
No.
But they are what they are.
Yes. And I think they are a pop band, but I would suggest that they're a pop band in a similar manner to Linkin Park being a pop band, in that they take metal, they take elements of metal music and they make it easily digestible for a mass audience. And again, there is nothing wrong with that. And actually, I'm perfectly happy. Like, when I put Sundowning on, the Sleep Token record, I find it a perfectly pleasant listen. And actually, I don't feel challenged by it at all. It's really nice noises in the background, and it accompanies me for 50 minutes, and I feel nice listening to it, and that is fine. That's okay. I mean, it's very different to a lot of the albums that we talk about, but that is basically what most people want in music. They just want their environment to be a bit nicer for 45 minutes, 50 minutes.
That's true.
And to be fair, Sleep Token are providing that really, really well, but in a manner where 900 people, 890, were absolutely. I mean, it was rapturous. It was insane. And I haven't seen. It did feel like one of those gigs. I remember. I think Linkin Park played ULU once, and that's the point where everyone went, "Okay, this band are going to be massive." I didn't see many other people in the press there. I mean, maybe they were. I went up to the balcony because I wasn't feeling very social, but. It did, to me, feel like one of those gigs where you go, oh, this band are going to be massive, aren't they? And, look, potential future download headliners
If you're talking about they have less than 1,000 people going to see them at the moment, so they have to expand. We're talking about an expansion of, literally 1,000% of what they are now.
I was about to say it is an insane thing to say, and I partly only say it because as a nice mirroring of you going to see Five Finger Death Punch. But I did, like when we spoke about it on the phone the other day, I did say that actually I can see them selling out Hammersmith Apollo maybe in maybe 5 years, and that's 5 times as much as what they've got, maybe 6 times. And I can actually see that happening. Believe it or not, I think that this could hit really, really big. And I think to casual music fans, to us, it sounds like 2 genres bolted together. To casual music fans, I think it sounds revelatory. And I'm not saying that I'm not putting casual music fans down or anything like that. It's what you know. But I think it genuinely sounds totally new and totally different. And the metal elements are presented in a manner which is really palatable. And I think there's a sort of genius in that. And I think they are going to be huge. I really, really do.
We've had a lot of false dawns.
We have. And
like this. I mean, you mentioned Creeper.
Yep.
And Creeper are on the front cover of Rock Sound as we speak. And their tour is selling very well. But certainly Momentum has
definitely dipped with Creeper. Yeah.
And it's a difficult thing to get right. Go away for too long and people go, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Keeping the public consciousness constantly, and people get bored of you and over familiar with you. So it is going to be. So I think it's tough for any of these bands.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you have to just keep releasing really, really good music. And who knows? Like I don't know. What I do know is that what I saw is certainly a hell of a lot closer.
Oh, of course, yeah.
A festival than Sleep Token are. Obviously, they're fucking 8 albums in at this point. Bad Wolves opened and sounded pretty good. Like, I mean, sonically sounded quite good. There's nothing particularly exciting musically there, but their cover of Zombie actually sounds quite good.
Cranberries,
yeah,
nice.
I mean, that's bigger than the original now.
Yeah,
it's mental. It's absolutely huge hit. I want to talk about Megadeth. I have to talk about Megadeth because Megadeth I've seen be fucking dreadful before. I've seen them be pretty good. I've never seen Megadeth and been like, wow, they were incredible.
I've seen them be dreadful at Wembley Arena, actually.
Have you?
Headlining it, weren't they? With Lamb of God.
I thought they were good that night.
I wasn't into it, no.
Okay.
Sorry.
They were really good. Like they did a
Good.
proper greatest hits set. The band was so tight. Like really superhumanly tight. And Dave's voice didn't sound brilliant, but Dave's voice isn't brilliant.
When does it? When does it sound brilliant?
No. But also it's understandable considering
Absolutely, yeah.
what he's been through in the last 6 months. You think it was only about 6 or 7 months ago that we were talking about him having throat cancer, or him announcing he had throat cancer. He came on stage and he did the single best moment of the night by a country mile, not just the Megadeth, but the entire night, was Dave Mustaine saying, I found out I had cancer and I thought, shit, I'm really pissed off. I can't play live anymore. And I thought about situations like this and having them taken away from me. And I just so desperately wanted to be back in front of people like you. And I think he said something like 60 radiotherapies and 9 chemotherapies. And then his doctor literally had just said to him, you're 100% free of cancer. And the roar that went up from that was great. You know, it was massive. And, obviously we've seen a lot of people in metal over the last decade and music that we love have, from Bowie and Lemmy and Ronnie James Dio to Peter Steele to Paul Gray to, do you know what I mean? To huge iconic names in our sort of our collective love of musicians. Well,
Mustaine's been particularly unlucky because he sort of retired
once,
didn't he? Because of
2003?
Yeah, I mean, forgive me for not remembering the actual ailment, but it was basically an issue with his fretting hand.
He had to relearn how to do everything with it.
Yeah. Which, Megadeth songs are not easy to play, believe me. So, yeah.
It wasn't even that he had to relearn how to play guitar. He had to relearn how to pick up a knife.
Yeah.
And fork. And, do you know what I mean? It's
So he's faced some incredible ordeals which would have easily quashed other people in the past. So,
yeah.
Fair play. Yeah. I'm very happy to hear these.
Yeah, it was really good. And, what they did play was absolutely hit heavy, that set. Really, really good. So, Five Finger Death Punch, Renfrey. We started a little funny laugh at Five Finger Death Punch. We've spoken about before about how, Five Finger Death Punch are silly, aren't they? And they are silly. Like, it was like watching cartoon characters, Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah, which I think is exactly what they're going for, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I went along because I went along because I wanted to see Megadeth after what happened with Mustaine. And because, very doubtful that we will review the new Five Finger Death Punch records. Did you say?
We're still in two minds about it.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a poll and ask people, although inevitably they'll just say yes because they'll want us to trounce it. Although that might not happen.
I'm going to say it's the best. Okay, what might fucking ruin our...
Are you allowed to say this, by the way?
Yeah, it's out like it's over there, the mag. It's the best Five Finger Death Punch album I've heard.
Okay.
It is objectively the best thing I've ever heard them do. And there's there's a few sort of surprising moments in there. There's some surprising moments of technical metal and some surprisingly well-produced stuff. Like, they are not the most, obviously the most forward-thinking or technical thinking band at all. But it's new metal.
Well, in terms of bounce and how
everything
instant
about
it is. Right.
Everything about, to me, I'm like, this is just new. I was watching them the other day and I was like, this is new metal. Of course this is big. Like, it's new metal. Look at them for a start.
Yeah.
Look at them.
Cartoon characters.
Like, they are cartoon characters. They have, their image is so OTT. It's ridiculous. It's over the top. It's absurd.
I think their image has been cultivated extraordinarily well, I have to say. I mean, to give Five Finger Death Punch some dues, they are very, very good at doing all of the things outside of the music. They are really good at.
Yeah.
Which does sound like damning with faint praise, and I suppose in a way it is. But I think that Five Finger Death Punch are extraordinary businessmen, basically, or Zoltan's an extraordinary businessman.
And yeah, and it's hard to sort of put your, because it took me for such a long time. I was sort of trying to put my finger on why they are so massive, because I was like, they're kind of just another one of them Godsmack radio rock bands. But I saw Godsmack at Download last year, and Godsmack are boring. Like, they're boring to look at. They're boring to listen to. They don't really have anything of any kind of interest at all, right? Five Finger Death Punch music is knuckleheaded and dunderheaded and stupid, but live...
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're boring live.
But live, like, it's weird, Renfrey. I walked out of that and I was humming so many of the songs.
Really? Okay.
I walked out. I said to you, I was like, I called you the next day and I was like, I just chose to put one of their songs on Spotify.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who am I? Right.
So I called the local institution.
And I did listen to one song and go, no, I don't want to listen to some record particularly. But that show was really good. And it flew by. And it was definitely like military precisioned as what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Not from where they moved, from what they did, the smoke bombs going off, the fire going off, the between song patter, the fact that, I've just noticed a young girl in the crowd. I'm going to bring her up on stage. Like, it was, every single thing about it was theatre, was a show.
Yes.
It was hitting your marks, and there was basically no room for sort of spontaneity, the kind of spontaneity that you long to see from someone like Let Live.
But to be honest, it's usually the theatrical bands that get massive, because they're the ones that seem bigger than life.
And they are massive.
Yeah.
They are massive.
I'm really glad you said the word theatre, because I didn't mention this in the Sleep Token. I don't want to bring it straight back to that, but I reviewed Sleep Token for Metal Hammer as well, and I was explaining how it is a theatrical experience. Sleep Token, this is another reason why I think it could potentially be very big. The team Sleep Token have behind them are basically Ghost's team, which makes total sense, obviously, for lots of reasons. And I think that element of theatre, it's weird because the metal, so many people in the trolls in metal are so kind of like, oh, it's fake and it's derisive and blah, blah, blah. But if you think of all the big bands in metal, all of them have elements of theatre. Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, I would argue Metallica.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird idiosyncratic thing that those metal fans sort of don't seem to realise that actually a lot of their favourite bands are massive because they're theatrical.
I mean, especially when you get past those bands as well, when you get into like Slipknot and Korn and Biscuit and My Chemical Romance. I know they're not a metal band really, but
no, but that's a great example. Absolutely.
Like Rammstein, obviously.
Yep.
Ghost now. And I think Five Finger Death Punch are, they're not the million. They're completely different musically, but the approach is sort of the same as Ghost. Like, it is just like we've cultivated this world, and you step inside it. Yeah.
Well, they call their fans knuckleheads. They have the what's the mascot? I can't remember what the mascot's called, but they have a mascot.
It's really metal to have that sort of mascot. And
there's the baseball bat stuff. Did they do the baseball bat stuff?
He was holding the baseball bat at some point, and they had two baseball bats cross over behind.
Yeah.
A big like knucklehead fucking thing, and
that was exactly the same as they had when I saw them like 4 years ago.
I think they're probably going to redo it when the new album actually comes out. Because they only played one song off the new record, which is like just been released. But it was just sort of undeniably infectiously catchy. All of their songs were, and I found myself like tapping my foot along and sort of. I was ready to come on here and be like, Five Finger Death Punch.
Well, we were almost not going to review it.
Yeah, I think I quite like them though.
Yeah, really?
Well,
do you think it's changed that much?
I'm still not going to listen to their records.
Yeah,
because I listen to their records, and you sit at home Like, you know, as can you imagine me sitting on that sofa over there and going, I'm going to listen to Five Finger Death Punch and listening to it? Does that seem like the sort of
Only
thing
at your most masochistic.
Yeah. But I'll listen to the album enough to know the songs to go and see them. Like, I would go and see them again.
So you'd maybe listen to the best of.
Yeah, or like whatever they're playing, like sort of whatever their set list is, I'd be like, oh, pick that. Because
I actually have the best of because I was sent it before I went to see them, and some of the worst songs I've ever heard are on that.
there are, you know, like some of it is so ridiculous. But I think when you sit down and listen to it as a bit of music, you go, God, what is this? Like,
well, it's Metal 101, I guess, isn't it?
But when you're seeing it live, it does take on a completely different the dimensions are all completely different.
Yeah.
But
again, shrewd businessman, because at the end of the day, it's simplicity that works in massive venues. It isn't complex stuff. You know, Metallica got big-ish on Justice for All, but they went supernova on the Black Album. And the reason for that is because they massively simplified their songs. It's just a fact.
Yeah. And at the end, Ivan said, next time you see us, we will be headlining Download. That's what he said.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's bravado on his part. I don't know if he's let slip something which he shouldn't have let slip. I mean, I can't imagine, considering the Five Finger Death Punch album comes out in a couple of weeks, I can't imagine that they're going to not come back to the UK before June 2021, which can be the earliest time that they'll be able to headline Download. But I've been saying for a long time, Five Finger Death Punch are going to headline Download. Whether you like it or not, that is going to happen. And it absolutely, you know, I've not really even paid much attention. The last few years, to be honest, I've not even paid any attention to Five Finger Death Punch at all. I don't know what they've been doing. I know they had some problems and stuff. They've got a new drummer now. I don't know what they're up to. I thought maybe it was tailing off a bit and they'd sort of blown it. But obviously not. I
think, you know, despite all the negative things I have said about them, you said quite a few negative things about them in the past, I think I'd speak for both of us when we say we'd both love it if Five Finger Death Punch headlined Download, because the thing that we always moan about with Download, our issue particularly with Download, is it is the biggest festival platform in the UK for metal music, and they continue to peddle out the same old acts time and time again. And that is the main reason.
Some of the acts playing headlining Download aren't excited about them playing.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, you definitely can't say who, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've done an interview as Renfrey's walking in.
Yeah.
And which will be coming, I will put out for Metal Hammer or Louder. And even people in bands, I think, are like, fucking come on.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But that's the thing. I think because we are quite hard on Download, people might just, I think it gets a little bit Chinese whispery and people just sort of think, oh, you just don't like Download or whatever. And that is our issue. That is the main thing that we go on about all the time. It's just, it is the largest platform for rock and metal, so therefore it's the platform that people from outside the world of rock and metal look at the most. And if you were one of those outsiders, you would look at it year after year after year and assume that nothing new is happening that's interesting in metal or rock music, when as a matter of fact the exact opposite is the case. And it's really frustrating.
I find it very frustrating. Anyway, it will be Five Finger Death Punch. That is going to happen.
I'm sure it will.
It is going to happen. Also went to see Backyard Babies and Wild Hearts, which is really good. Backyard Babies look so young.
Oh yeah.
The music hasn't aged quite as well as they have. But my God, they haven't aged a bloody day since the 90s. Drake still has got a six-pack and he still looks like the coolest motherfucker around. Backyard Babies, I was never a massive fan of them. Quite hit and miss. I think particularly when you've got to play before the Wild Hearts, and you know,
it was a co-headliner as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, Backyard Babies did an hour. Wild Hearts did about an hour and 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was definitely billed as a co-headliner.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
I mean, that's a co-headliner.
That is a co-headliner. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. But I mean, really,
It was Warhols, yeah.
It was a Wild Hearts.
I looked at the set list and it looked
So
mighty.
Really, really brilliant set list.
Diagnosis second?
Diagnosis second.
Lovely.
Everlone, started off with Everlone. Diagnosis from the radio. What else? They played TV Tan. My Baby's a Head Fuck. I Want to Go Where the People Go. You know, they have got so many good songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's frightening how many good songs they've got, and they still. I mean, it would be a lie to say the Wild Arts sound contemporary, but they still all fresh. But they still sound as energetic as any current band. In terms of just sheer fucking... These are some classic rock band. Like, they are now a classic rock band, aren't they, essentially?
Yeah, definitely.
And you listen to some of them and you go, God, this sounds tired and old and boring and ploddy and bloated and blah, 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 blah. Not the Wild Arts.
No,
The Wild Arts
absolutely.
sound like a fucking explosion in a sherbet factory all the time. So great. So great. Yeah, so they're really, really good. There you go. The Wild Arts. Very, very good. We should probably move on and do some reviews, Renfrey.
There's a lot to get through.
There's a lot to get through. Do you want to start with Green Day, who are the biggest band that we're going to be reviewing this week? Or do you want to start with Loathe?
I want to start with something exciting, so therefore let's start with Loathe, I think.
Okay, that's not a bad shout. So Loathe, I let it in and it took everything. The second album by the Liverpool-based, broadly speaking, tech metal crew, although that's probably not really true now.
I'd have an issue with that, yeah.
Yeah, well,
We'll go into it.
That was a non-spoiler thing.
Oh,
that was
mate,
what I was doing there.
yeah.
They were on last week, so the Eric and Kadeem from Loathe were on last week, so it would be pretty rude to invite them on last week and then slag them off this week. Luckily, they've made an album of rare quality.
To be fair, we knew they'd made an album of rare quality before we invited them on.
We did,
and that's
yeah.
kind of why we invited them on.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Thank you to everyone who said that Brother from Another Mother and all that stuff with me and Eric. Obviously,
I like
we
that.
sort of look alike. I want to get myself, Eric from Loathe, and Scott from Cancer Bats all in the same room together and watch the world implode.
Yeah, that would be good.
That would be good.
You're sort of, where do you sit on the roster of talent from those three people?
Probably at the bottom, I imagine, annoyingly. But
No offense, but I kind of agree. Yeah, it was good. It was great to have those guys on last week, and we, like you say, we knew the record was coming out, and we knew the record was good. Now, Renfrey, not a lot of people know this about us, Renfrey. You and I, we both like Deftones. We kept it quite quiet.
I was wondering when the D word was going to come up.
We kept to ourselves, but
right at the top of the review.
Well,
I thought you were going to tease the Deftones wedding. No, you're just going straight for it.
I think it's
No foreplay.
Well, here's the thing, right?
No foreplay hill. That's what they call him. Episode title.
Many bands have absolutely not. Many bands have attempted to do similar things to the Deftones. Many bands are big fans of Deftones and have tried to capture their sonic otherworldliness in its myriad forms.
I think specifically we are talking about a sound that is at once heavy but also beautiful.
Yeah.
That's better to say.
Wide open glacial
Vast,
spaces.
expansive.
Expansive soundscapes with crushing, suffocating vocals and often guitars as well. Powerhouse drumming. But
it somehow sounds pretty as well.
Yes. And if you worship the Deftones in that way, and you try and do that, inevitably you are going to end up sounding like a kind of pale version of them, I think. The reason I brought Deftones up straight away is because I can't help but be impressed by a band who can do something similar to that, because it's so hard.
Yep.
It's so hard, and I say it's so hard without really knowing how hard it is. I just know it must be hard, because if it wasn't,
everyone would be doing it.
Everyone would be doing it, and we wouldn't have Taproot in the world. Sounding like Taproot, anyway.
Don't mind Taproot.
So
It's conversation
that's
for
my
another day.
sort of opening thoughts on this record?
Well,
like broadly.
Just to take that and run with it a little bit. I mean, the reason why probably every single, I mean, bit of peek behind the curtain. I wrote the bio for this review, the press bio, so the press notes basically. So I've had this record for fucking ages, and I've been quite excited about it for a long time. I think I told you at the end of last year I've got the new Loathe album, and it's fucking amazing. Spoiler, it's fucking amazing. And I think that they have sort of taken what they do, which is relatively, I mean, on the Cold Sun they were certainly had a more vast vision and scope than a lot of metal acts, I think it's fair to say. So they already had a fairly wide open vista to play with, and they have just added so many different colours and shades and different styles to their palette, whilst all the while still sounding like Loathe. And that is an enormously difficult thing to achieve, but really it's what every band should be setting out to do with their second album.
Absolutely.
And I mean, Loathe have just knocked it out of the park, really. The most obvious change when you first listen to the record by far is the more lush, soundscapey Deftones songs, the likes of Two-Way Mirror, which people probably would have already heard. I mean, when Two-Way Mirror came up as a single, I saw so many people, I mean, a lot of people were using the Deftones word and all that kind of thing, but in a very positive light, you know. Songs like Screaming has a big Deftones vibe to it as well, and A Sad Cartoon. Title track, yeah. But it isn't just Deftonesy stuff. I mean, it would have been very hard to do this review without mentioning Deftones, to be honest. But there is more to it than that as well. I mean, it is such a cliche, and it's usually a cliche that comes from bands when they say, "Oh, our record is lighter and heavier than our, but more melodic." But this album is heavier than the Cold Sun, and yet somehow more melodic. Yeah. A song like "Heavy as the Heart That Falls with the Weight of 1,000 Words." I never expected Loathe to sound like a black metal band.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, just to kind of go to pick up on what you're saying, that 1-2 punch of Gord and Heavy as a Head back to back is them showing how heavy they can be in two totally different ways.
Yes.
As well. Because, you know, with the first track, you've got this kind of groovy, world collapsing, like thumper, and then you've got this proper, like, it's I put it down as sort of like futuristic thrash, because it's, I mean, yeah, black metal, I suppose, is
for Heavy as the Hand.
Yeah,
okay,
but it's more, I mean, yeah, I suppose it is kind of atmospheric-y black metal.
It sounded really black metal to me.
Yeah, but it's like obviously double kick drum and stuff. I think it's it's we mentioned elements of extreme metal when we were chatting to the lads last week, and I think, you know, when you said they dip a toe in and it said it's more of a foot, like on this, I mean, it's really, I mean, that if people are going, oh, it's just ripping off Deftones, like, that isn't.
No,
that's possibly heavier than anything Deftones have ever done. Probably is heavier than anything Deftones have ever done in terms of extreme metalness. Do you know what I mean?
When I think of heaviest thing Deftones have done, I think of Elite, that kind of thing. Yeah, I reckon Heavy is.
Boys, Telephone Girls.
Yeah, I reckon it is heavier.
Hexagram.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, I mean, you know, that doesn't mean better strictly.
No.
Although it is very fucking good. But yeah, I reckon heavier. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know, they've, again, it's that old cliche that bands use, but also kind of it's becoming a cliche that we use of dynamics, of stretching things as far and as wide as you possibly can, and then going, and them come straight back together, or them finding one going so far that way and the other going so far that way that they kind of come all the way back around and meet each other on the other side from each other. And I think with bands do that when they get so far away that they end up becoming, they get so melodic that it ends up going right back round to suddenly boom heavy again, and getting that just that right.
Yeah. Well, that's the really exciting.
That's so fucking hard, and it's really, really great to hear a band do it properly.
Well, that's the really exciting thing about Loathe, and I suppose I have a bit bit more insight into this than most people, as I sat down with Eric for an hour just chewing his ear off about this record when writing the bio, but and asking questions along the lines of, what do you want Loathe to be? And the names that he was giving me was really interesting. He was like saying, you know, a big influence on us is Radiohead. And he said that in the sense that Radiohead release a new record and you have absolutely no idea what it's going to sound like. And that's what they want Loathe to be. You know, they've only got 2 albums at the moment and an EP or 2. So you can't really see that. But once they get to the point when they've done 5, 6, 7 records, they want it to be a collage of different sounds. And, you know, where they say, oh, that second album is very much, that's like the really Deftonesy album, but that 4th album is the really, I don't know, post-rock record or whatever they end up doing, you know. In the same way that you say, OK Computer is kind of like the future dystopian prog record, and Kid A is the more electronic experimental, you know. So less so in a sonic sense, I think, but I thought it was really encouraging when they were talking about Radiohead as an inspiration in that sense. And what I love about it is, actually, I mean, this will come up later on, most metal bands' view of what they could be and what they could expand out to be is really fucking narrow, to be honest. It is very contained and it is very tight within a certain kind of box. And some of those bands are still able to do really good stuff, but something I bemoan constantly, I think you do as well, maybe to a lesser extent, but, you know, I am constantly bemoaning how small metal bands, how small the periphery is. No offense to periphery. How small their ideas are, and how self-contained, and how they are unwilling to look outside of a certain box. You know, I mean, I've said this before, and you didn't strictly agree with it, but in the metal world, when a band are considered to have a massive change from one album to the next, we point to Atlas, to Aya, as this huge, massive sonic change, which is just like mind-blowingly different from one record to the other. Take any 2 albums at random in Nick Cave's back catalogue, and I guarantee you there is more difference between those 2 records than Atlas and Aya.
Yeah.
And this is a fundamental issue with metal music. And I'd say it as someone who fucking adores metal, but I'm fucking fed up of it all sounding the fucking same.
Your face has gone red.
Yeah, because I'm angry and I'm furious, and I don't
know why you're angry when we're reviewing such a good record.
No, sorry, I'm angry at the state of metal in general. But actually, this is why I am getting soapboxy about it, because I'm so pleased that this record is not that.
Here's the thing, though, Remfry, is I think you should be playing. I agree with you as well, and I think, you know, you were talking about Sleep Token, and when I listened to this, I mean, I was not keen on Sleep Token, and when you know, I don't hate it. I wasn't. I don't see the excitement in Sleep Token, and particularly for the reasons that you said, and particularly when you listen to an album like this that feels like. I mean, we chatted to the boys last week when they came on the show, and when we spoke about Square Pusher, and we spoke about JME, like Kadeem brought up, and that, you know, after we finished, just as kind of a sort of a little peek behind the curtain, after we finished, Kadeem went straight off to Brixton Academy to watch, I don't know, I can't remember who it was, but a rapper, right? Yeah. And who, you know, one of those rappers, but someone I've not heard of before, but, you know, he obviously listens to lots of different types of music. When you heard Eric going like, oh, great, Swans, and oh, great, The Locust, and then talking about how, you know, they listen to, you know, Flying Lotus and bands like that. It's like they're young guys, and they're not bogged down, and they're not held down, and they don't feel oppressed or bullied by the tropes of what metal is supposed to be. They obviously don't care.
Yes,
they clearly don't care.
Yeah,
and I think it's quite exciting for the future to think, you know, more of these bands are going to start coming out.
Exactly,
and either we all embrace it, and we go, you know, metal's going to move on again. Like I feel like we have been waiting so long for the next whatever it's going to be in metal.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the last time anything really, to be really, really honest, the last time anything really sort of consumed the metal scene sort of broadly was probably the new wave of American heavy metal. That's probably the last sort of significant movement, and that never became as big as, you know, new metal or thrash or grunge or glam or whatever. And also the new wave of American heavy metal, to be fair, like a lot of it was good, but it wasn't. It was kind of. It felt like a rehash of stuff that had happened before. Well, you know, I think we'd got to a point in metal after new metal. You know, particularly when you look at a band. You know, you mentioned them earlier, but a band like Linkin Park. To me, a band like Linkin Park was so far beyond what really. You know, like it almost becomes nothing to do with metal because of what metal was only. It was the snapping point for a lot of metal fans. 6 years previously to that. Yeah. And I felt like you say, you know, I do believe in this kind of reset button, that post Linkin Park reset button for a great majority of the metal scene. And the new wave of American heavy metal was just people going, yeah, fuck that shit. No, what is wrong with Iron Maiden, and what is wrong with, you know, sort of Swedish death metal, and what is wrong with fucking growing your hair and wearing leather and denim and, you know, looking like a fucking heavy metal band. And I don't really want that to go away completely. I don't think I'll ever I don't think I'll ever want that to completely go away, just to be clear. No, because there's plenty of bands who do. I mean, Lamb of God were one of those bands, and I fucking love Lamb of God. You know. Pallbearer, yeah. Are a band who, just ping off the top of my head, Baroness are like you know, I mean, they're a much cleverer version of it, but Baroness are a band who lean on the past to create what they create, which is so great. I think they're far more creative than... I think they have grander and I understand what you're saying, but I think they have a far vaster scope. But I understand. But that's not, you know, that's neither... Their scope is their scope. What they're influenced by is the sound of classic rock and the sound of classic heavy metal, the sound of classic kind of punk and post-punk and, you know, on those, and prog rock and stuff, and that's what inspires them. You know, like there's nothing, you know, there's nothing from rap metal or emo that inspires Baroness. Do you know what I mean? No. So they are a classic heavy, you know, they're a classic metal band in a broadly speaking. I guess you could say their influences stop at a certain point. Yeah. Probably. Yeah. I mean, you know, they probably don't in reality, but I understand what you mean. But I think we're getting to a point now where bands are starting to go, no, actually, you know, new metal, for all its kind of faults when it became this sort of very, very silly. I mean, we were just talking about Five Finger Death Punch, and I was like, it was new metal. And, you know, there are a lot of things about new metal's commercial boom period, which I think was a disaster. But in terms of its... when you look at the first couple of System of a Down albums, the first Slipknot albums, the first Korn albums, first Deftones albums, Taproot, Snot, and Static, first couple of Static X, like you know, those bands were exciting. They were great, you know, and they didn't. And again, they were going, well, no, fuck you. I'm not gonna be held down by this shit. Yeah, and I think there didn't seem to be boundaries. So, no, and even more so now with a band like Loathe, where when you read about Korn, and it's like, okay, well, the bass player liked hip hop, and the singer liked new romantic music, and the guitarist grew up listening to Metallica, and that's the meld that made Korn. That's the melding part. Right? Yeah. Whereas with a band like Loathe, you go, they probably all listen to everything. And they still want to make heavy music. And they understand, like, you know, they're not the only bands that we're going to be talking about who have a very clear grasp on whatever genre of alternative cutting edge music. That obviously there's an album coming out. Fuck it. When the Code Orange album comes out, we're going to be talking about that quite a lot, right? But this is comparable, I think. This is at least... This is their second record, and it's Code Orange's fourth record. So Code Orange are definitely further down the road. I prefer this to I Am King. Yeah, I think I do. Yep. Yeah, I think I might do as well. And if that's the comparison you're going to make, I prefer this to Code Orange's second album. Yeah, and that's fucking exciting. Yep, absolutely. You know, they they really understand. I think Loathe understand the basic principles of what makes music good.
Yeah.
I think a lot of bands in metal don't understand that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Yeah. And they are, I mean, if you take, there's a song called Is It Really You, which I don't really want to describe it as a ballad, but it's about as ballady as Loathe get, and yet it doesn't sound syrupy or too sentimental. I mean, it's a fucking beautiful song. It's amazing. But then you take a song like Red Room, which I suppose there's some quite obvious Code Orange comparisons there in terms of it sounding really fucked up and quite sinister and scary. And actually, Eric told me that the primary inspiration behind Red Room, certainly the noisy interlude section towards the beginning, was the film Joker. And I think that's another thing. They are looking to not just music but films as inspiration. So they'll watch a David Lynch film and go, I want to try and recreate the emotion that scene in Lost Highway made me feel, but I want to do it in a musical way. And I think just that, it's just broadening your influences beyond music alone, it's going to make you a far more interesting band. I think this is the proof of the pudding.
I think you're quite right. I think this album is very, very good indeed.
It's excellent.
Very,
isn't it?
very good. It is, I'm trying to keep myself from going to oh my God about it, and the only reason is because I think they'll make a better record than this.
I think they will.
Knocking on my door.
I think someone might
Someone
be.
is knocking on my door.
Do you want to check it?
First time this has ever happened on the podcast.
Knocking on
Run for carry on talking about
my lovely door. And even talked about the live show that they have, and I think the ambitions of Loathe are unbelievable.
Definitely, yeah.
We were just talking about Five Finger Death Punch and how they look like cartoon characters. If you see Loathe live, they look like cartoon characters as well.
I like the Britpop guitarist.
Yeah, exactly.
He's good.
I've said to them in the past that they're a band who I think if you saw them in silhouette, you go, that's Loathe. And Five Finger Death Punch, you could say the same of. Guns N' Roses, you could definitely say the same of. Yeah. I think they are smart enough to realise those sorts of things and to embrace them. And I do believe that they want to be fucking huge.
Yeah, I mean, I concur with all that stuff. I think you're right. I've never. That's excellently put. That you can see them as silhouette, and they are. Yeah, it's great. I think we were talking to them last week, and they weren't afraid. I think we actually had that conversation of going. You don't seem like you're that scared of the idea of going. We want to play to lots of people, and we want to be big. And this sounds like something which should be played in front of a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. I listen to this and I go, this isn't made for small venues. This is made for big venues. This is made for big stages. This is meant to be heard by a lot of people.
Yeah. I don't think, with the material that they have at the moment, I don't think they're palatable enough to be, Brixton, Hammersmith Apollo, etc., etc. But
why though? I mean, neither were Korn. Korn were playing Brixton Academy on Life is Peachy.
Different time,
but do you want them to be? I mean, I think having just. I don't want to sort of contradict myself for being going they can do more melodic stuff, but they could. I think there's something about Bring Me the Horizon probably aren't a great example because we've said I think Jordan Fish understands electronics to a point, although quite a disappointing return on that EP that we reviewed.
God,
but Jordan understands electronics. I'm not sure the rest of Bring Me the Horizon. They probably listen to pop music, but they understand the mechanisms of it. I don't know. Having said that, I'm always a bit disappointed that Bring Me don't play more of that heavy material.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wouldn't like to think that Loathe if Loathe got to that point, I would like to think they would still go, no, you still, like Deftones still ending with bored or 7 words or whatever.
They wouldn't distance themselves from their past.
From
what Eric said to me, that would be the case, definitely.
Yeah.
I to be clear, I'm not saying that Loathe won't ever play Brixton or Hammersmith. I think they have to do it with different material, but not because this material isn't any good. I think it's probably too idiosyncratic and strange for that much of a mass audience, unfortunately. Certainly in today's world. I mean, hopefully that will change, because as you said, we've got a generation, well, you didn't quite say this, but you've got a generation of people growing up with streamed music and stuff who are just far more used to having genres mashed up and different things, pieces going on, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope that people engage in music enough. There are, you know, the one thing, again, we touched on it last week, is do people engage in music enough? I think people need to engage in this record quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I want people's reference points to, like, again, this will be something we talk about the Code Orange album, is that I worry for people like you and I, without sounding arrogant, you and I, we know the reference points that we are pointing at when we listen to a record like this. And Loathe obviously have a very broad set of references. But if you're just a metal fan, you know, if you are someone that just goes to download and that's kind of what you want to do, then you might go, well, this just sounds like Deftones, because what else can you compare it to? You probably don't listen to Floating Points. You probably don't listen to any modern hip hop. You probably don't really know what those things are. So, you know, we were talking about Aphex Twin last week. You know, you think someone who goes to the main stage at download to watch like Kiss is going to listen to Aphex Twin? It's very, very unlikely. So I do wonder and worry about like how much of this goes over people's heads and they just go, oh, it just sounds like Deftones. Like, I do worry about that a little bit.
But I also think that generation is hopefully, you know, becoming a thing of the past.
Yeah.
To a degree. I mean, as time goes on, they will. Yeah, it's inevitable. So. Yeah. But it depends what, you know, Download Festival wants to do. I mean, it does seem like they want to become Classic Rock Festival in the manner that they're doing things, and if that's where the money is, then great, good for them.
Probably won't be in 10 years when the band's dead.
True.
Anyway, that's Loathe. It's very, very good. The album's called I Let It In and Took Everything. It's great. I'm sorry I had to nip off then. That was my neighbour across the road.
Yeah.
Her mum ordered the package, and the package was delivered to number 27, which is my house, not number 26.
Don't tell them that.
Number 27. What, you're going to knock on every number 27 in London you're going to knock on, are you? Like, come on. And anyway, the people
this is how you get stalkers.
And anyway, no one who listens to this would be interested in stalking me. My neighbour's very attractive as well, by the way. I didn't know. I've never
if you are interested in stalking Steve, do tweet us or message us.
When I was on Team Rock, I never would have said this, but on here, of course, you're not going to stalk me. You're perfectly normal people. So I'm not worried at all. Anyway, that's a new album from Loathe. It's very, very good. Let's move on to the biggest album of the week. The new records from Green Day. It's called Father of All Motherfuckers. It's the 13th studio record from the Stadium Punk megastars. Renfrey, I have my review here. I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to let you get on with it. Do you mind that?
Sure.
Here's my review of the new Green Day album. The Ramones have let themselves go. The New Bomb Turks have let themselves go. The Hives have let themselves go. The Dandy Warhols have let themselves go. Hot Hot Heat have let themselves go. The Datsuns have let themselves go. Jet have let themselves go.
Ooh.
The greatest hit of Smash Mouth has let itself go. That Liam Lynch song that goes whatever has let itself go. Royal Blood, when they were 12, have let themselves go. Lindsay Lohan's band in Freaky Friday have let themselves go. The soundtrack to a late 90s teen film has let itself go. McFly's B-Sides album has let itself go. The jingle for a hair gel advert in 2006 has let itself go. Your embarrassing uncle who tells you how he remembers real rockin' music, wears a leather jacket and a Foo Fighters t-shirt, and still dyes his hair jet black has let himself go. Green Day have let themselves go. You do the rest.
That is really good, and unfortunately you do need to listen to this record to appreciate just how brilliantly observed that review is. But that is quite possibly the best review we've ever done on this show, I think, actually. Yeah. So well done, Steve.
Nothing else to say about this record other than I hate this with all of my heart.
I think that's the problem, isn't it? Now, I'm going to come at this from a slightly different angle because I fucking love Green Day. I grew up with Green Day. We are 5 years apart, and I am 5 years younger. And, Dookie came out when I was 9, so you would have been 14, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. And to a 9-year-old, I probably didn't get into Dookie.
To a 14-year-old, you don't need to take me out of this part of the Green Day.
Okay.
Dookie's great.
Yep. Dookie.
I loved it.
You love Insomnia.
Love
You
love Insomnia.
Go up to Nimrod, don't you? You don't like Nimrod.
I quite like Nimrod.
Nimrod's fucking great. Is it Warning? Where do you tail off?
I don't hate Warning, but I don't like it particularly either.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't listen to Nimrod or Warning. But then I don't mind Nimrod, but I never loved it.
Okay. I would and do regularly listen to Nimrod. I love it. I love Warning for all its faults, and I love American Idiot. I really adore. American Idiot. Before I was even a journalist, and I was just a geek keeping track of my favorite albums of the year. I didn't have anywhere near as broad a scope, and obviously I wasn't getting albums sent to me for free, so my albums of the year lists would sometimes just consist of 12, 14, 15 releases, and it was literally everything I'd heard that year. But American Idiot by Green Day was my number one album of 2004. I'm sure if I went back now, it might not be, but at that time, when I was 19 years old, I went to see them at Brixton Academy. I thought they played most of the record. I thought it was fucking incredible. I fucking love Green Day. And so basically my point is it doesn't bring me any pleasure to cuss out Green Day because I fucking love them. I even think Dose is actually okay, which is or as Sam Savigny from Roxin said the other day, he said the shit in the shit sandwich between the 3 albums of the Uno Dos Tre. I actually think Does is all right. So I
will be drawing, when I see Renfrey coming down the street from now on, I will be drawing my curtains, turning all the lights off, and pretending he's not outside.
The reason I'm saying all of this is because I think, with the greatest of respect, Steve, people are going to expect you to hate this.
Oh yeah.
Whereas I'm trying to outline that me coming into this and hating it is not necessarily. I've not loved a Green Day record for 16 years. But, I have a lot of love.
You're an easy man to please.
I have a lot of love for around half their back catalogue. So Billy Joe Armstrong said that this is the new soul, Motown, glam, and manic anthemic. Comments on that, Steve?
He's a stupid cunt.
I hate the way he's put it. I don't know why he's probably approaching it. Is he 50?
Of course he is.
Late 40s, 50? Why he has to say it in that manner, I don't know. Why he can't just say,
hello, fellow kids.
We were a little inspired by soul, Motown, and glam on this album. I don't know, but I can see tiny, tiny spatterings of soul, Motown, and glam. And if I'd seen that on paper, a Green Day album inspired by those things, I would have been very excited. I was also excited by the fact that this album's 26 minutes long.
Yeah, mercifully. It is
the shortest Green Day album by 5 minutes. Their previous shortest album was 39 Smooth, their debut. And I, to me, it's 26 minutes and 16 seconds long. And I thought, amazing. This has the potential to just be short, sharp, really concise, really cutting off all the fat and going, right, we wrote 30 songs for this, but we are just taking the best 10 and going to make a killer record which has no fat on it whatsoever. What is really disappointing is they haven't even managed. It's been 4 years since Revolution Radio.
Yeah.
They haven't even managed to make 26 minutes worth of good new material.
Well, 26 minutes and 16, so you send us 16 seconds of good music. Where is it?
In the interest of balance, I think Sugar Youth has some of the pep and drive of old Green Day. That's track 7 or 8. I quite like Junkies on a High in a sort of ballady-esque Green Day type way. It's for people not on the webcam. Steve is not happy. Having said that, it ain't no Boulevard of Broken Dreams or Good Riddance or Macy's Day Parade or any of their amazing ballads that they've written in the past.
Or Black Velvet by whoever did that.
What I can't believe about this record is it's a million selling. You call them stadium punk band. It's one of the biggest rock bands in the world. I can't believe, in a sense, I admire them for releasing an album that is so slight and so beige in a way. I feel like in a lot of this album, I'm going to quote Iggy Pop, I don't feel pleasure and I don't feel pain when I hear this album. I just feel nothing. It's just there, and it's on and then it's off as quickly as I put it on, and I'm like, I don't feel anything at all.
What's the shitty Beatles rip-off one? The
Ruttles?
Twist and Shout, the one that sounds like fucking Twist and Shout. That's desperate. It's even got like teenage girls screaming in the background. That's the worst.
It's not I Was a Teenager, is it?
No, it might be. I can't remember. No, it's Stab You in the Heart, I think. Isn't it?
Oh yeah, Stab You in the Heart. Yeah.
I mean,
Stab You in the Heart is like the classic rock and roll riff, right? It's like which is a classic staple of rock and roll. Jerry Lee Lewis, maybe Elvis Presley, certainly. It's a classic staple in the same sense that 12-bar blues is a classic staple. And I think it's totally fine for bands to use those classic staples, but it says an awful lot about a band as to how they use them and how good a song they make out of using the classics. And Stab You in the Heart's fucking shit. It's dreadful.
It's the worst thing on a very, very bad record.
Oh, do you think so?
Yes.
You really don't want to talk about this album at all, do you?
I've said everything, haven't I?
Yeah.
It's a shit piece of shit. It's just
a shit piece of
shit, this album. It's got no redeemable qualities to it whatsoever. I'm sorry, but it hasn't. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to talk about I can't be bothered to talk about it. Like, yes, you're right. Everyone expects me to slag it off. And yes, I think Green Day are stupid. But do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, even for their terrible standards over the last however long it's been, this is worse than I thought. Revolution Radio was a load of wet plop, right? But it sounds good compared to this. This is the worst. This is the. Do
you think this is the worst?
I think this is the lowest point, right? And I'll tell you what, there is a rumor going round, which I normally would go, that's ridiculous. Like, no one's doing that. But there is a rumour that I have heard, and I'm going to say it because, fuck it, what are you going to do? That Green Day are not happy with their record label and they want to leave, but they owe them 2 records. Have you heard this?
No,
they owe them 2 records. They're going to make 2 records in the next year. 2 records are going to come out just to get them off their label, and they are deliberately going to make them shit. Now, if I heard that rumour without hearing this record or without knowing anything about it, or if I heard that about any band, I'd go, don't be ridiculous. You're not going to shit in your own bed just because you fucking, and then have to lie in it. Like, no one's going to do that, right? That's a ridiculous thing to say. Having heard this,
it seems plausible.
It seems likely. I mean, I'm happy to call it a fact. Like, on the basis of this, I'm happy to put it on its fucking Wikipedia entry because
please do that, ladies and gentlemen, because that hasn't got us in trouble before.
I mean, it is so bad, and 26 minutes, and it still feels like I'm listening to it forever.
I don't feel that. I feel more bafflement and nothing really. I just feel really. I'm sort of stunned. Billie Joe Armstrong, and you may disagree with this, and that's fine, but I genuinely believe that Billie Joe Armstrong used to be one of the greatest singer-songwriters to ever do it. And the reason why I say that is because it is enormously difficult to make simple songs that last forever. Basket Case is going to last forever.
Of course it is.
Right?
Those albums are great.
Billie Joe Armstrong has written so many
greatest hits back catalogue.
Oh, just like even the greatest hits. Even that greatest hits.
Good.
That's really good, and it's missing some great material. I mean, you probably don't agree, but it's missing some great material.
I don't agree at all.
But you know, and most bands always want to do, if anything, they want to do too much, because when you're writing music, you're just like, oh, it needs more, it needs more, it needs more. And to have that ability to go, this is enough and this is okay, which Billy Joe Armstrong definitely had back in the day, it's really rare, and it is something that really should be championed. But he appears to have completely and utterly lost that, I'd say, since 21st Century Breakdown onwards.
Too many fans, too much money, and for some bizarre reason, I mean, the idea that you're channeling soul and Motown when actually you're channeling, like I said, Jet and Hot Hot Heat is fucking hilarious to me.
What is disturbing is how much Green Day seem to have taken on the guitar tone of those early noughties indie bands that we constantly shit on. Yes.
And the silliest ones.
Yeah.
Not even like I'd be surprised if fucking hell, Green Day sound like Block Party or Franz Ferdinand or the Futureheads or you know, Interpol or something like that. I'd go, well, that doesn't really suit them. And
unfortunately, it's the Kooks.
Yeah, and it's exactly that. It's all these like silly, but they're the fucking Towers of London.
Yeah. God. That's really depressed me. But yeah, it's really. I mean, they're
walking around going, like their finger, we're punk rockers. It's like they're like the punk character in a sort of BBC One Friday night sitcom.
Yeah. I find
it's fucking embarrassing, this record.
I find I don't know how these songs are going to work in a stadium.
Well, they're not, are they?
They're so slight, and they're so like there's nothing to them.
They're not going to work.
No.
But people who are idiots, they'll still lap it up. If you go see Green Day, you deserve everything you fucking get, as far as I'm concerned. If you go see Green Day and Fall Out Boy, you deserve every misery you have.
Hey, even I will stick up for Green Day as a live band. I remember getting a last-minute ticket to see them on the 21st Century Breakdown album, which was the first Green Day album, which really disappointed me and had a fucking amazing time.
Just the 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Just the 14 years ago then.
Have I seen them since then? Yeah, I have actually. I saw them at Shepherd's Bush Empire when they released Uno Dos Tre. I mean, that was fucking incredible as well.
Okay.
I mean, look, fuck it. As a live act, I don't think I saw them on Revolution Radio, so I can't really comment on that. But I still rep for Green Day as a live act. They are fucking awesome live. But you know, I'm curious to know how many songs they're going to play from Revolution Radio on this new tour. And when it comes to this album, when it comes to the next tour for the next album, I imagine we might get one song from this record.
Well, you got quite a lot of stuff. I mean, because I saw them with Rancid at Hyde Park. I went to see Rancid and the Hives and Go-Go Bordello, basically.
Right.
And Green Day were there. And I was like, well, you know, I've not seen Green Day for a long time. I had a look at their set list beforehand, so I knew I could leave like an hour before they finished. And even waiting for them to play Basket Case and waiting for them to play like Brain Stew and stuff, I was a bit like, oh, this is just a bloke going ayo, and it just felt
that's annoying,
so fucking fake. And I mean, we were talking about Five Finger Death Punch and how that feels fake and false and blah, blah, blah. But they are what they are. Like, Green Day were meant... I mean, they're a punk band. I mean, they were a punk band.
They were a punk band. Yeah, they were a punk band.
And they certainly, you know, it's a different... I think it's definitely a different thing to what Five Finger Death Punch were. I don't think Green Day, that band who released, like, you know, pre-release, just before they released Dookie, could ever have imagined, oh, you'll be playing fucking stadiums in 25 years' time.
Have you, I mean, well, I'm about to ask a rhetorical question because I don't think you have, but have you listened to 39 Smooth recently, their debut album? Like, there's no one would have predicted they'd become a stadium act.
Then, no.
Fucking hell, no.
Then they probably wouldn't have even thought they were going to do a European tour.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yes, you know, they definitely were a punk band.
39 Smooth pisses on this, by the way.
Well, I'm sure it does, yeah. I've not listened to it fucking ages.
Pisses on it.
And that's not a great record.
No, it's not great.
I mean, you know, I think if you take anything to your grave, let it be this: Green Day fucking suck.
Okay, yeah. To be fair, I don't hate it in the way that you do, but I do find it one big shrug of an album. And actually, I would imagine that the boys in Green Day would be more annoyed by my analysis than yours, because if you hate something, at least you have a reaction to it. And I just went... I was totally baffled by it.
I hope they'd be pretty annoyed by mine as well, to be honest. I'd be pretty offended if they was just like, oh, good, thanks, man. So anyway, that is Green Day, Father of All Motherfuckers. We're going to really, really quickly, again, Renfrey, my heart hurts too much to keep doing this, to be honest. Stone Temple Pilots, Perdida, the 8th studio album from the grunge latecomers, the 2nd album after the death of Scott Weiland, and the 2nd album also to feature the karaoke stylings of Jeff Gutt. I have very, very little to say about this, apart from the fact that you and I slagged off the last one. I think this is worse.
Yes.
I think it's quite bad. I don't think I would know. You made quite an astute point just before we started recording. I don't think I would have even known that it was a Stone Temple Pilots album were it not for Gutt straining to do his best Scott Weiland impression.
To be fair, not a bad impression.
Not a bad impression, just lacking any of the personality, originality,
Yes.
And sort of X factor that is necessary to be the kind of iconic figure that Scott Weiland became.
It's the difference between an impressionist and an actor sort of inhabiting a role.
Yeah. And the songs around it, I mean, you know, just as a comparative point, I think, what's his face? Oh my God, I've absolutely forgotten his name now. From Alice in Chains.
Jerry Cantrell, Lane
William
Staley,
Duvall.
William Duvall.
William Duvall does sound a lot like Lane Staley, a hell of a lot. He doesn't have, and I think that's meant to be the case.
He brings his own thing to it, though.
Well, and the songs are fucking great.
Yes. Yep.
You know, one album's worth of it is very, very, very good.
Well, Rainier Fog compared to this is fucking...
Oh, yeah, God. I mean,
incredible.
I can't remember the last time I listened to Rainier Fog, and I thought it was all right. But this is mostly acoustic.
It is. It's an acoustic record.
Yeah, it's an acoustic record.
Yeah.
And
Very
did I
sappy.
say? Well, I put this on at work, and my mate went, "Is this Enrique Iglesias?"
Yeah, I can totally see where your mate's coming from. What I really don't like about this is it's been put out under the Stone Temple Pilots name. And I actually said to you before we started recording, I said, if the DeLeo brothers, who are the sort of two brothers at the centerpiece of Stone Temple Pilots,
Dean and Roberts,
if they had released this as just an addition, a side project or a solo album or whatever, I wouldn't really have had a problem with it. I wouldn't have considered it a particularly good record, and I doubt I would have gone back to it all that much, if at all. But they have put Stone Temple Pilots on it to make it sell buckloads. And what's fucking annoying is it might work, it might not, but they have gone for a target demographic in America, which is fucking massive, because this is very tinged with country and western, the entire thing. And country and western, if you're not aware, is fucking huge in America.
Big.
And I feel like they are going for that subset of people. I mean, to be honest, this isn't a diss on country and western fans in general, but just a lot of casual music fan listeners where
got a real bee in your bonnet about casual music fans.
Well, not particularly. I'm just saying that casual fans of music and people like myself, you, and I imagine 99% of people who listen to this podcast, probably all of you actually, who listen to this podcast, we do listen to music in a different way to casual music fans. If that sounds snobbish, well, I was about to say I'm sorry, but actually I'm not, because it's a fucking fact. You know, we listen to music in a totally different way. We live it, we breathe it, we analyze it, we tear it apart. To be honest, we actually sit down and listen to it, as opposed to casual music fans who just kind of hear it. And actually, if you put this album on in the background and hear it, it's fine.
I mean, I can't imagine ever getting excited by this in any way whatsoever.
I'm not excited by it.
No. I'm just saying.
I'm not excited by it.
Yeah, you're right. If you put it on in the background, it will be on.
Exactly. It'll be on, and it will be a perfectly pleasant distraction, which will take up 5% of your brain, when you're thinking of other things.
Sounds
Whilst
like the nicest thing anyone's going to say about this record.
that is the nicest thing I can say about this album. Yeah.
Honestly cannot remember a single solitary second from this record. There is nothing in my brain other than, oh yeah, it's acoustic, Stone Temple Pilots-y, and like you say, it's got a kind of folksy, country, Americana vibe to it. I think, but I can't remember anything from it.
It does. I mean, to be fair, Stone Temple Pilots doing country is nothing new. Big Empty.
Yeah,
but Big Empty's a good song.
Yeah, and when it's
in fact, it's a great song.
When it's part of the tapestry of a very quite like.
Do I mean Big Empty? Sorry, do I mean Big Empty or do I mean In State Love Song? What's the real?
In State Love Song. Yeah.
I think I'm talking about In State Love Song.
Yeah,
I do
In State
apologise.
Love Song's got that like sort of cowboy slide guitar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apologies.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I didn't want to pick you up on
No.
that.
But
fine.
I should have been picked up on it. Yeah,
yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Well, because I was going to say, that when you listen to my favourite album, is it your favourite album, Tiny Music?
Purple's my favourite, but Tiny Music
fine.
is a very close second.
Tiny Music, well, but Beatlesy parts in it.
Yeah.
Then they go into this kind of glammy second phase of their career.
Yeah.
They've done lots of different things before, so
Much more than critics would have you believe
definitely.
as well.
And so, but that Wayland era stuff that had this fucking really cool, amazing vocalist who had this really, not even a unique voice, but a very recognizable voice and just a really great aura. Well, that would sound like a hippie, like a fucking cool aura about him. This has none of that.
No.
It has none of it at all.
No.
And it could be any band. It could be any band in the world. It could be you could walk into a pub and there'd be three dudes with acoustic guitars.
It could be that.
Pained worthy expressions on their faces playing these songs, and you go, they're never going to get anywhere because they're boring.
Yep.
And that's what this record is.
The just to finish up, the thing that annoys me most about this record is the idea that a song as saccharine as "You Found Yourself While Losing Your Heart."
Yeah, we did their lyrics last time when we spoke about the self-titled Butterfly.
But the fact that a song like that could now conceivably played alongside Sex Type Thing or Vaseline
Tripping on a Hole
or Tripping on a Hole in Paper Heart just makes me so fucking sad.
Jeff Gutrot, more like. That's Stone Temple Pilots, Per Didder, new album. Two bands I loved in the 90s. Just being shite this week.
I'll tell you with this, man, I'd take the Green Day record over the Stone Temple ones any day, to be honest.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I have no answer for that.
I mean, I like...
Because one, I
feel
actively
dirty saying
annoys
that,
the shit out of me, and the other one I just think is like listening to someone having a wee. Do you know what I mean?
What, it arouses you?
Yes. Let's do these two together because we've gone on a fucking hell of a lot and there's a lot of stuff to get through. Sepultura's Quadra and Silosis's Cycle of Suffering. Well metal. Both out on the same record label.
Napalm. Nuclear
Blast.
Nuclear Blast, thank you.
Sepultura's Quadra is the 15th studio album from the Brazilian thrash legend. Silosis's Cycle of Suffering is the 5th studio album from the returning Reading Thrashers. Now,
first album back after a 3-year hiatus.
After a while, isn't it? Yeah. Obviously, Josh has gone off and done Architects. Josh Middleton, their lead singer and lead guitarist, and you can see, I think, what a great player and what a writer of excellent riffs Josh is.
Yes.
It has an instantaneousness to it, this record, the Silosis one, which I don't think the Sepultura album does have. Although saying that, Sepultura might just be my favourite metal band ever.
Yes. You're a huge Sepultura fan.
I am an absolutely fucking massive Sepultura fan of those 4 albums.
Beneath the Remains,
Arise, Chaos AD, Roots.
Yeah.
That might be the best 4-album run in the history of heavy metal. Might be. In my opinion, I'm happy to go on record to say that it is.
Fair. Okay.
I that's how much I love those records.
Certainly a contender.
Certainly a contender. And that's when you consider Kill 'Em All to and Justice for All is a thing.
Yeah.
That's 4 albums. you know, fucking great band. Obviously, Roots is pretty much the last Sepultura album. I think I've said this before. That I really loved, and I think it still is.
Yes.
Although this is the first one in a long time, Quadra, that I think I might go back to.
Right. There we go. Okay.
So that's an early sort of putting out there.
Yeah. Truthfully, I'm not as big a Sepultura fan as you, although I do fucking love them. And once again, caveat is the Max era. Truthfully, I've not really gone in on the Derek era that much. As a matter of fact, this may even be the first Derek album that I've listened to from front to back.
Is it really? Wow.
Probably, yeah. I definitely heard bits of, the hand, that heart, that fonder, growed the heart hand. Long title.
Yeah, that long old title.
I heard bits of Machine Messiah.
Machine Messiah was the last one that came out. Which
Quite good, actually.
A lot of people seem to really, really like that, and it never really grabbed me. I think there's...
I thought it was all right.
Dante 20... Was it Dante 21?
Heard bits of Dante 11?
Dante 11 or Dante
13, yeah.
13 or something.
I mean,
anyway,
this just shows how,
That was... I remember kind of... I think I was because I was chatting to you about the 5 Minute Death Punch album, and I remember saying there was a little period when I got back into metal, when I had a sort of, a little hiatus of listening to metal. When I got back into it, anything that came out that was metal, I loved. And that's when I first heard 5 Finger Death Punch. The first couple of 5 Finger Death Punch albums, I was like, this band are great because they're a metal band. And I bought Dante 13. I was like, yeah, Sepultura, they're back. They're great. Fuck knows when the last time I listened to that record was.
Yeah, exactly.
Rawback, Nation,
Yeah.
Against, a couple of good songs on Against, which is the first one back with him. But overall, yeah, there's nothing from the Derek era that I really, really like.
Yeah. So I had relatively low expectations for this, to be honest. And I have to say, for half of this album, those expectations were absolutely smashed. This is a far more adventurous, far more... I was talking earlier about how I bemoan the fact that a lot of metal bands have a very a small point of view, a small box that they draw influences from. And it has... I'm a bit worried about that this will paint the wrong picture, but Nightwish-esque moments in...
It does, yes. There's a lot of power metal stuff on here.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Power metal, yeah.
In the sense of these big, epic, sweeping sort of choruses, there's almost like a sort of Greek tragedy, epic style-ness to it. And I actually think a lot of that stuff is really interesting. And they're little, like, accoutrements which are added to the songs, which make a lot of them sound really quite interesting. I think, and there's sort of callbacks to things they've done in the past. I think Capital Enslavement has an intro that very much recalls Roots, very percussive and all that kind of thing.
KOS, isn't it?
KOS, absolutely. I think Guardians of Earth has a nice like acoustic intro.
Yes, Guardians of Earth, actually. Sorry, that's the one I was thinking of. Not, but yeah, that's very, KOS, I think, is got a hell of a lot of like similarities to that.
Well, there's this beautiful acoustic intro, and then a massive fuck off choir comes in, and it becomes like it's really like it's a really good song. It's really good.
I actually don't. I think that that's lots of fart and no shit without wanting to be too gross.
That was pretty crude.
Pretty fucking crude, that, wasn't it?
Continue with this analogy.
I loved the opening, I loved the build, and then when the choir came in, I actually found it a little bit too cheesy.
Really?
I found it I was like, there's a bit of a nothing song.
It works for me.
The ideas are good, but that's not to say that's true about everything.
Yeah.
I think it's cool to see that Sepultura are still, because they're always what the most forward thinking of the big metal bands from that time. Pretty much, I would say them and. No, there's a lot of actually. No, that might not even be true. They were one of the most diverse, certainly from that period, I think. And it still feels like they're at least attempting to do lots of different things.
And is
that true of Silosis, though?
No. But here's the interesting thing, and another reason, essentially, why we've banged these records together, apart from the fact that we have fuckloads to cover. What's really interesting is the songwriting and the song craft on the Silosis record. I think regular listeners probably expect me to go into this Sylosis record and tear it apart because, a quick sideline, are Sylosis a metalcore band anymore? No, they're not really, are they?
Were they ever?
Well, I think early on.
When Jamie Graham was in the band?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, but that's a long fucking time
ago. It is a long time ago, admittedly.
That's like a decade ago.
But, Sylosis is now a more kind of a sort of trad metal band, but with 21st century production and screams in the Trivium-esque, aren't they? They're Trivium-y.
Trivium-y is it's right. They're a technical, they're quite a technical band. They tour with Megadeth. They toured that Wembley show that you're talking about. I believe they were the opening band on the Megadeth tour then.
Well, maybe they were.
They were. So, yeah, I mean, makes sense. Opening for Megadeth, to me, makes sense because Josh is, the vocalist and a very, very, very good guitarist. And it's, I think broadly, you mentioned metalcore from the early part of their career, but certainly for me, like you say, I think that kind of a much more song-based, technical based.
Yeah.
It doesn't really stretch outside the parameters of what we were talking earlier about heavy metal.
Yes.
This is much more of a metal-sounding metal record. If you like your metal to sound like metal,
then yes.
Then I think this record does do that, and probably more so than... Certainly more than the Loathe album, and certainly more than the Sepultura album, I'd say. If you're sitting here and going, I hate it when they review these albums, and I want a metal record, and they're a bit sniffy about it, I think this is a very, very good metal record. I think it's got some great riffs on it. I think it's got some really catchy parts on it. It's 50 minutes long. My attention does start to wander a little bit towards the end of the record.
It's 12 tracks, and I reckon it should have been 10.
Yes, I think it's weird actually because for me, the best 2 tracks on the Sepultura album are the last 2 tracks.
Oh my goodness. Okay, my face has just fallen to the floor because I think that last song in particular is embarrassing.
Oh really?
I fucking hate it. The Fear, Pain, Something, Suffering.
Pain. Yeah.
I think it's awful.
Do you?
Yeah, I actually, in fact, of the Sepultura record, I was going to say they should have stopped at track 8. I think the last 4 songs on the album are embarrassing.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're really bad.
Agony of Defeat, I think, is the best. Is comfortably the best. I think there's some really good stuff on it, right? I think the opening track, Isolation, which actually sounds like Sepultura.
Isolation's
great.
It's not
something I felt from a lot of their material. Is really good.
Yeah.
There's a song called Mean to the End that follows it. It's quite creepy. Has a sort of spidery riff from Andres on a song Last Time, which is really good. I think it drops a bit. I mean, I think, again, Guardians of Earth, I think, takes a long I mentioned takes a little while to get going. And then it does dip off a little bit for the rest of the album, really, apart from there's a song called The Pentagram, which has got a really wicked riff, and the drums are doing sort of half.
Is the Pentagram the instrumental?
No.
What's the instrumental?
That is called. Hold on, let me get the track list up in front of me. That is called. That's the title track.
Right.
It's
yeah.
Quadra.
I thought that was a waste of time as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I really like Agony of Defeat particularly. It's Emily Barretto, who I don't know from Fear, Pain, Chaos, Suffering. But I just thought, oh my God, maybe it's the shock of hearing a female voice on a Sepultura record. But it's funny you say that because I don't know, you might not think this, but the last track on the Sylosis album aims for quite a bit of a similar thing. It's a much slower, it's got an electro thing.
Yeah.
And weirdly, especially considering Josh's, I guess, main job in Architects now, doesn't really work for me.
Oh, really? Interesting. I think the last track on the Sylosis record is it was almost kind of like, oh good, you're doing something a little bit different. I mean, the thing that sort of I do think that once again Sylosis are keeping within certain metal boundaries, because it's like, how many albums, probably dating back to the 70s or maybe the 80s if you're being a little bit kinder, do you have 11 tracks of just sort of standard, this is what this band does, and then the last song is an epic, or we're just going to go on a slightly different tangent. It's just a formula we've seen a billion fucking times before.
Yeah.
And it's a
weirdly,
little,
it doesn't really suit them at all.
No, I don't think it does actually. No. I think the reason why putting these 2 records together is very interesting is because I like the Sylosis record much more than I expected to like it. I will say this much. And actually, I saw Sylosis at Sonosphere, on the main stage at Sonosphere, 2010, I want to say, maybe 2012. One of
There
those
wasn't
two.
there wasn't one in 2012. It would have been 2011. I think it was
Maybe 2011.
In fact, it definitely was 2011.
But I believe they opened the main stage and went over to check them out. And
Is that the Slipknot day?
quite possibly, I can't remember. But I do remember basically thinking, this is a band who are brilliant at doing something that I am not that interested in. I think they are really fucking good at doing that thing that I'm not really into. And listening to this album, almost 10 years later, I feel exactly the same way. I think they're incredible. I think the songwriting and the songcraft, and there are bits. It always seems to be, they always do really good. I mean, middle eights isn't really the correct term, but a part in between like a chorus and a verse where they go into like a different part.
Yeah.
There's some really cool bits. There's bits which kind of recall the Ouroboros, that Gojira song.
Oh yeah, Josh does loads of sort of hammer-ons and weird little kind of. Again, I always say spidery riffs, and what I mean by that is kind of just dancing your like sort of dancing your fingers over up and down the fretboard.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that on this, and just really good sort of catchy but heavy sounding, modern sounding metal riffs.
Yeah. I remember
they're not metal riffs as well. They're not metalcore riffs. This is a thrashy. This is a metal record. Definitely, this is a modern metal record, not a metalcore record.
Yeah, I was expecting this to be more metalcore than it was. I have to admit. I do think there are. I think this is 20% metalcore, maybe.
It's in production, if anything.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. But actually, no. I think you're right. I think the meat of it actually isn't. And Josh is is an incredible talent to be like, the fact that he does those riffs and sings at the same time. Fair fucking play. The interesting thing with these two records together, though, I think the meat of the Sylosis record is actually very good, aka the songwriting, the songcraft, and the riffs, and the sort of accoutrements, the extras, the orchestral flourishes that are on the Sepultura record are excellent. But the meat, for some of it, is not really there enough. And I was kind of thinking, if you combine these two records and took the accoutrement elements and made the Sylosis album expand its palette just a little bit more, but had this quality of what's on the Sylosis record, you'd have a fucking brilliant record. I mean, you'd have the blackening probably, but you'd have a fucking excellent record. And we have, I mean, we've half purposefully put them together. It's also because of timing, but I couldn't help but think that as I was listening. I mean, I was listening to these records a lot back to back and all that kind of thing. I was like, I'll do the metal bit of the show. And I just couldn't get that out of my mind, thinking if Sylosis took a few tricks from Sepultura, and Sepultura wrote better songs these days, I have to say, then you could have something really special there. I think as it is, both of these albums are better than I expected them to be.
Yeah,
but I don't think either of them are amazing.
Yeah,
if I'm honest.
I would say both of them. I mean, I fairly expected the Sylosis album to be good. I was going to say really good then, but I expected it to be. I hoped for it to be really good. I expected it to be good. I've never been a absolutely massive fan of the band, although I do like them quite a bit.
I'm hearing industry murmurs. People are saying that Sylosis record, it's incredible. Do you agree with that?
I don't. What this is a decent record. It doesn't throw, like you said, it doesn't throw enough tricks at me to really grab me as a album of the year contender. But as a straight ahead metal record, yes. Yeah. Definitely. As a straight ahead metal record, I don't think we'll be getting, because of, I think the game done changed, and we know who we think has changed it, obviously. But there's been a few bands that what metal's become over the last few years. I think there's been a few bands that we've spoken about that we've gone, you kind of look at that, and you look at what Behemoth have done. Yeah. And you look at, obviously Code Orange are just, it's an inescapable thing for us to keep saying it, but we're going to have to keep saying it. I think there are a lot of bands who have gone out of their way to try and keep the traditional sound of metal, like a band like Full of Hell, who aren't just a grindcore band. They're something much more than that.
Well, we tend to champion, well, certainly me, and I think both of us actually tend to champion the bands who are just looking outside of those boundaries more.
Zealand absolutely. Another band who are doing something which is taking metal into brand new directions, which just feels exciting to my ears. And the sound of metal will always sound exciting to my ears because I just really love it. And I think when you get a great record, like a band who can really smash it like Sylosis can, great. I think the Sepultura record for me is a more interesting record.
I agree.
Definitely a more interesting record, but I agree with you as well. I don't think the quality is consistent enough.
Yes, I agree.
I think the Sylosis record is very consistent at doing 1/2 things to
a very high standard.
Very high standard. Whereas the Sepultura album has got a lot of ideas and is got a lot of good songs on it. And there's enough stuff on it that I would now probably go like, that's probably, for me, this is the best Sepultura album I've heard of the Derek Green era.
It made me think that not checking out Derek Green stuff might be a mistake. Now, if this is indeed the best album of the Derek Green era, then maybe it isn't worth checking out. I don't know, but you know, it did. Listening to it, I was like, "Fuck, have I missed a trick by not listening to?" I mean, Derek Green's done 9 Sepultura albums now. Yeah, this is his 9th album. Max only did 6. Yeah. Was it 6?
6.
Yeah. So you know, like
but they're all really good. Well, no, the first 2 aren't really good.
Yeah. But no, I totally agree. And I think, I just thought it was an interesting comparison, both metal records, both coming out on the same label on the same day. And it's like, if you took the best elements of both and smooshed them together, you'd be talking about one of the best album metal records of the decade, probably. Not that it's possible to do that. I mean, and that is, you know, it's neither here nor there because you couldn't do that and it wouldn't work. But I couldn't help but have that feeling listening to them. And to an extent.
It's what's weird about it is that Sepultura, for me, although not all of the things work, they do seem to have. It does make me more like, whoa. When something new comes in, I do go, oh, and it holds my attention. Even if halfway through I go, that's not really work.
Yeah, you know.
Whereas the Sylosis, the one time they do step outside it, that was when I was like, nah. I mean,
I didn't mind that last song. It's called Abandon, is it?
Yeah.
So basically, the different thing is piano. Josh is singing rather than screaming. Electronics and stuff like that. I don't think it's totally 100% successful, but I think by that point I was just so happy that something different was happening, because I just heard that album's 50 minutes long and that Abandon track is 6 minutes, so I'd had 44 minutes of more or less the same thing done very well, but I was the same thing.
I mean, there's a little bit in the middle, I think, that really pepped me back up again. There's Idle Hands and Apex of Disdain back to back.
Yes, those are both great songs. Yeah.
But there you go. Anyway, Quadra by Sepultura and Cycle of Suffering by Sylosis are both out now. If you're a metal fan and you really, really love metal, I think probably give both of them a shot.
Definitely worth giving a shot.
At least giving a shot to.
I was really pleasantly surprised by both, and I imagine I will probably take my 6 favourite tracks from both and just mash them together and pretend they're the same band.
Yeah. Could do
that. and create a fucking great metal record. Yeah. But yeah.
All right, good. Right, let's do another record. The last full-length album.
I'd love to do the last full-length album, but Bonjour is literally on my nose.
Well, I can start.
I'm going to have you start. Go on.
Look at Bonjour's here, everyone. Look at this. Look at their little head. Spanish Love Songs, Brave Faces, everyone. It's the 3rd album.
Yes.
Album of new material, because they had a B-sides record out a couple of years ago, didn't they? So the 3rd album from the LA emo band with a growing reputation.
Very much so, yeah.
Spanish Love Songs. Their last record came out just after we had started this podcast, I believe.
Yeah.
And a few people said Schmaltz, and a few people said, oh, you should listen to that, you should review it. And we never actually got round to it, but it felt like people really loved that record.
This band have endeared themselves to the hearts of many, many, many people, and I totally understand why. There is a kind of forgive me for using this word, but mature pop punk sensibility to it, which is massively reminiscent of, I mean, there's elements of Bruce Springsteen, LA Bruce, the Menzingers, Manchester Orchestra. If you're listening to this when this podcast comes out, they're actually touring with the Menzingers in the UK right now. The other comparison I would say, and the big one for me, they sound a lot like the Wonder Years. There's a lot of Wonder Years in this.
I mean, you know, we talked about a lot. There's a lot of bands that they sound like that we've spoken about in quite glowing terms over the last year or so. Whether it be Bellevue Days, whether it be maybe not Nervous so much, because Nervous aren't quite as. He sounds like he's going to cry a lot. I'm going to get to that a lot. But Menzingers and Pup as well.
All bands that we really like a lot, have a lot of time for.
And I've become the Hold Steady. I think I really like that record as well. Both the records that we listen to, and it's become a type of music which I've just been like, I just kind of like all of this, and why wouldn't you? Like really, really good songs, really
heart on sleeve,
made by like heartfelt and
heart on sleeve Americana punk rock,
and kind of everything that the Green Day album isn't. So I pretty much expected me to come in and be like, this album's really good, and I think it's quite good.
Oh, okay.
I think it's pretty good. I mean, I don't think it is of the same standard as the Menzingers or Hold Steady.
No, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think it is. But I do like this sort of thing, so I like it.
To be fair, they are 3 albums in, and Hold Steady are 7 odd, and Menzingers are 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But I'd agree.
But you could knock probably 3 Menzingers albums off and still be better than this, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, I reckon on the Hold Steady's 3rd album, they were probably...
their 3rd album was Boys and Girls in America, which is fucking incredible. So, yeah.
They've actually made them come out worse.
Yes, I kind of have actually.
Saying that. So, I think it's got some really good songwriting on. I think, they live and die by how good the songwriting is and how quickly they can sort of grab your attention, how they can hold you. And there's some very memorable things on there. I love the song and the intent of Losers, which is a song about kind of getting forced out of your own community, about worrying about money, about a kind of lack of healthcare in the US, and
a lot of mental health talk on this album.
I think Kick is really good too. There is something which I find quite difficult to get past, and it is, are you about to cry? All the way through the album. All the way through the album, I'm like, are you actually about to cry? I'm kind of pleased you've brought this up, because when I first put this record, I have to say that this record has grown on me a fair amount, and I imagine it will continue to. I'm 4 listens in, I'd guess, and it's definitely better every time. So we might be looking at a record that in 6 months' time I'll come back to and go, I fucking love it. As things stand, I think it is, a good record, maybe even very good. First time I heard it, I found the vocals a little bit cloying. Affected in the sense, and annoyingly, I mean, I love the Wonder Years. I'm very, very keen on the Wonder Years, particularly those last 2 records. And I can't deny that it's something that Dan Campbell does from the Wonder Years as well, but this kind of delivery, which is maybe a little earnest, but in what appears or what sounds to be a bit of a forced manner. It's, I mean, to be honest, the more I've listened to the record, the less it's bothered me, and I feel like I can get over it. And I don't think you could interpret these words as me saying that there's something fake about it. I don't think there's anything fake about, I think the guy's name is Dylan Slocum. I don't think there's anything fake about this album. It just feels like he's over-egged the pudding in terms of the delivery of the vocals, in a sense that he wants to be kind of like, no, really, listen to what I am saying. Please listen to everything that I am saying. And that's quite annoying at times. Fake is too much.
Absolutely. But forced.
Slightly. is disingenuous too much as well? Probably is.
A tad. I'm happier with forced. It's a forceful delivery. It's quite po-faced, and I think it's the sort of thing that he will get better at. I think he'll naturally become better with those kinds of... I mean, Dan Campbell from the Wonder Years is certainly a much, much better vocalist than he was back in the day.
I mean, it's funny you say that about you put it on and at first it annoyed you and you're 4 listens in and it doesn't annoy you now, because I've had the opposite effect. Whereas when I first listened to it, I was like, oh, I'm going to really love this. And I've probably listened to it 6 or 7 times.
Right.
And it's really starting to grate on me, his voice.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Well, I do think it's very objective.
To the point where I only want to listen to like 1 or 2 songs in isolation. I don't want to listen to it all the way through because it feels like too much. There's not a lot of respite on the records from this like supremely over earnest, really like heart-wrenched delivery. Yeah. There's barely any respite from it, and everything about the record is, I'm in my town, I'm going to die, we're all going to die, oh God.
Well, you say that. I mean, they say this is their most optimistic record. I mean, to be honest, I actually do think it's an optimistic record, but I think it's the kind of optimism where you have to look beneath the surface to see that optimism. It is
quite hard to do that when the dude is literally like,
sounds like he's crying.
Bottom lip is going fucking bananas. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the first chorus on this album is, the negative consumes me, guess I'm all right, let the guilt pass right through me while my friends are taking dives off of cliffs, and I just worry about the songs I'll never write. It don't matter, they won't hear me on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is you're right. I think it's there probably is like this, there's a sense of like everything's shit but we get through it.
Yes, exactly. I think that's where the optimism comes from.
Yeah, but at the same time it's quite hard to get there. We'll get through, and it's like you don't sound like you want to get through it.
I imagine live these songs will feel incredibly optimistic with everyone singing along, and they appear to have garnered an audience who are really quite passionate about them. And I imagine if you went to see them live, which I'm thinking of potentially doing with the Menzingers, then that you may well, that might be what you experience. And I can totally see. I think the Menzingers do that to an extent as well. I don't want to be an arsehole anymore. It, like, on paper is quite a negative lyric, but actually when you're sort of singing it at the top of your lungs with a few pints in, it can actually be quite optimistic and
but I don't think there's a couple of things in compare it to the Menzingers. The Menzingers tend to like occasionally will have a turn of phrase which is quite nudge wink like got tongue in cheek and nudge and wink. You know, they have a sort of, they're sly, they have a sly kind of cool edge to them.
Yep.
And the delivery of their vocals is not so kind of overwrought. Do you know what I mean?
No, exactly.
So that's why that works. Whereas, you know, this isn't. I don't dislike this record, but like I said, it drains me quite quickly at this point.
I think it's very good, and I understand why people have taken this band to their hearts. I totally understand what you're saying, and I do think that's going to be one of those things which is, I think I said objective, but it's subjective, isn't it? As in, like, it's going to be down to the individual as to whether you can get on board with that vocal style or not. I was going to mention it anyway, even if you didn't bring it up, but more as a kind of, the vocals might be cloying to some. They were initially a little annoying for me, but I kind of got over it. But it's interesting that your opinion went the exact opposite way to that. So I guess you're either going to be in on it or not. But, you know, a lot of people are in on Billy Corgan's voice or not on his voice, and I totally understand both points of view, to be honest. So,
me too.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that's "Brave Faces, Everyone" by, and they said the Menzingers, then by Spanish Love Songs. Not by the Menzingers. All right, cool. We've got a couple of little EPs to chat through before we go. Logic Ravaged by Brute Force is Napalm Death's new EP.
Threw this in for you?
A 2-track EP. It's quite quick. Everything they do is quite quick, isn't it?
7 minutes and 38 seconds, I believe.
Which is actually quite long for 2 tracks.
It was longer than I expected it to be.
Grind legends.
Yeah, it was longer than I was expecting it to be. Not a lot of grind on this, though, is it? But not any grind on it. Yeah.
No, not any grind at all, which is, Napalm Death known for that. But
we should say the first song is an original, and the title track, Logic Ravaged by Brute Force. It's got quite a gloomy kind of gothy vibe. I got quite a lot of Killing Joke from it, which I thought you would be well into.
Well, I've spoken to Barney a bunch of times, and he talks about how Sonic Youth and Killing Joke and Celtic Frost and Swans are their main inspirations still, and that will always be what they sort of want to write. And when you're hearing like "Blah," and that's it, you kind of go, really, where is it? Whereas you can definitely hear it.
I can totally hear it in this. Yeah, totally.
And they've done that stuff, many times over the years. But certainly, yes, early hardcore and industrial post-punk, you can absolutely hear it crystal clear.
Yeah, there's just a dystopian kind of bleakness to it, really. It's difficult to describe. I mean, you did quite a good job of describing it in our writer's review on Killing Joke. But it's this, a bleakness, I guess.
Really good, obviously. I mean, I would say that, wouldn't I? I love Napalm Death.
This is meant to be a teaser for the new album. Does this make you excited for the new record?
Really excited. I mean, I was excited anyway. I think Apex Predator Easy Meat, when did that come out? 2015?
Something like that.
2015. Yeah. Fucking brilliant record. So brilliant. And it's been a long time since the last Napalm Death record. They don't usually have such a big gap between records.
Yeah, there is going to be a new one this year. This is just kind of I don't know if this song is going to be on it or not, but they have said that it's a sort of teaser for the new record.
Yeah, but the run that they're on, Napalm Death at the moment, is there's not really any other bands in extreme music who have been on a run of such. I would argue that all the best Napalm Death stuff has come out from the year 2000 onwards.
Right. Okay.
Mad.
Yeah, I need to get in on some of that because I only know bits and pieces of their discography. But yes, I'd like to get on that. The second track,
Totalitarian, obviously Enemy of the Music Business being the first one that sort of shot them back up into Totalitarian, Order the Leech, fucking great.
Yeah, okay. The second track is, you already mentioned them, a cover of Sonic Youth, White Cross. Relatively straight ahead cover as far as these things go, but it's just a beefed up version with like Napalm's guitars and Barney's screams but it's great. It's really good.
It's really, really good.
And I'm well into it.
Let's have a new album, please.
That will happen, I'm sure.
I think it will. Also out, so that's Napalm Death, Logic Ravaged by Brute Force.
Yeah, that was for you, and this one's for me.
Venar, Dick Privilege, another 2-track EP. This time from the former Ocean Size Man. Now, I have read up about what this is, and it's basically Mike Venart's sort of response to being trolled by Tommy Robinson's far-right supporters.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, more or less.
I actually, he got into a skirmish with Tommy Robinson, didn't he?
He got into a hoo-ha, yes,
and
with Tommy Robinson.
Filmed by the man himself, Tommy Robinson, and I've seen that video. The
things that they did, I mean, they sent death threats and rape threats to his mother and his wife. They had to get, there's a fire department out the day before Christmas Eve to the police fireproof their house because they had threats that their house was going to get burnt down and all this sort of thing. And his 6-year-old son was terrified of, over Christmas that some far-right nutters were going to come in and kill them or something like that. I mean, it's a pretty disgusting story.
Fuck me, that is fucking awful. I mean, what kind of world are we living in, Renfrew?
Oh, yeah, quite. And it is a very pissed off song.
It's really angry, isn't it?
I really wanted to bring this in because I have shown you two Mike Venart's two albums that Mike Venart has appeared on in the past. Ocean Size full-length debut album, To Cure to cure a blizzard upon a plastic sea. Yeah. I can do it when I say it fast. And you were really keen on the Oceanside record, as I recall, and you were sort of ho-hum on the Venart record. Yeah. This, to me, felt like it'd be really up your alley. Is that true?
I was very surprised at how acerbic and angry and Dillinger-esque at points some of it was, and Gallows-esque in other points. Yep. Like Frank, he's got a delivery that wouldn't be a million miles away from Frank Carter of the Grey Britain era.
The second song, Rat Race, sounds like something Heck could have done.
Yeah.
Like, if I'd been told it was a new Heck tune, I would have been like, yeah, of course it is.
It's probably heavier than the Napalm Death.
I agree. Yeah, which is insane. I listened to them back to back a couple of times, and I was just like, I mean, I've heard Venart do heavy stuff. Like, you know, there's really heavy Oceanside songs, but not quite in this manner. And I really want, obviously, you know that I love Mike Venart, and I want to praise him to the hilt because I think he's an incredible musician. I really wanted to throw this in just to kind of reiterate what a broad spectrum of things that Venart pulls from. Yeah. And what's wonderful about it, like, I'm a massive fan of his, and I've digested everything he's done in meticulous detail, and this was the last thing I was expecting. And I think those are the kind of artists that are really, really interesting, and we should be talking about and supporting. I assume you really like this because it's so you. Yeah, it's so a bit of you. Really good. It's awesome, isn't it?
Really good.
Yeah. It's righteous anger, though, isn't it? I mean, come on. Anger,
yeah.
Like,
I mean, you fucking, for whatever you think about going up to someone and like going, I disagree with you, and then them filming you and putting on the fucking, which is, I mean, oh God, our society is such a stupid fucking shithole sometimes. But
and this song encapsulates that quite well, I think.
Yeah. It's like, what kind of world are we living in?
But it's really like we've talked about the Dillinger elements and stuff like that, but it's surprisingly catchy. I mean, there's a like falsetto bit where it's like dick privilege, you know, which is really kind of like almost soul-y. Like it's a real hodgepodge of different ideas and disparate elements which you wouldn't think in a million years would work together, and somehow he manages to make them work really fucking well. It doesn't quite sound like anything else, really. And, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, this whole EP or these two songs is less than 6 minutes long. Again, it's shorter than the Napalm Death EP, which is a surprise. And it's two of the best songs released this year, I think.
Yeah, it's very good, actually. It is very good. And you're right, great. Heck's a great shout, actually.
Yeah. It's really chaotic and really wild, like, to say the least. And yeah, just further proof that Venart, you know, is constantly going to surprise. And, you know, the next thing he does is probably going to be like a gospel album or something, I imagine. But whatever it is, you know, in the same way that Devon Townsend, you don't know what Devon Townsend's going to do next. Mike Venart's exactly the same. And that's why I love him. I think he's brilliant.
There you go. Dick Privilege is out now. Is it out now?
Yep.
Good. All right. Sweet. Okay, well, that's it. Go over to musicism.net to get some courses, 25% off with the code RIOT in the checkout. We'll be back next week talking about Tame Impala.
In Technicolor are going to be on the show. Yeah.
Another band coming in to chat to us, which we appreciate. And
would you be doing Cavell Attack?
Oh, Cavell Attack.
Suicide Silence.
Suicide Silence.
And might do the new Vata album as well. Yeah, Tame Impala. Yeah.
Sweet. That'll be a laugh.
That'd be very good.
All right, cool. Well, we'll see you next week then. Have a nice one. Bye.